Hello and welcome back to Kev's Vintage Tractor Repair channel. So in this episode, what we're going to be doing is fitting a full lift pump to a little Fordson Dexta. It's the same lift pump that I show you in the 12 Days of Christmas. I hope you can get something out of it and I hope you enjoy. This channel is sponsored by Mark UK Limited, so I hope you enjoy the video. Hello and welcome to Kev's Vintage Tractor Repair channel. This is a little continuation from the 12 Days of Christmas, and what I said we're going to do, we're going to fit a little lift pump to this Fordson Dexta. If you want to come in and have a look. Okay, so here's this little Fordson Dexta. All right, it's a little early one. So what we're going to do, we're going to replace the little lift pump. All right, so we've got our two pipes, our feed in, a feed out through the filter, and then off to the injectors. Here's the one we're going to fit. Differences with this one, we have a little plunger, so we've got that in there, and also comes in the kit is a new gasket. We'll keep that out of the way because all that is in the box. What I've already done, I've switched the fuel off, obviously disconnected the battery as well. You're going to lose a little bit of diesel, but it shouldn't do too much anyway. First of all, what we're going to do, we're going to undo the pipes. I've got a pipe spanner here. Okay, you can use a normal one. It'll do just as well. Just be a bit more careful. It doesn't round anything off. Now, the reason I'm changing this one is this one does have a tendency to leak every now and again, and it's had so much stuff put on it to try and stop sale, PTFE tape, sealant, all sorts. So we're just going to change it, put a new one on. There we go. So that's old PTFE tape somebody's put on there, all right, to try and stop it from leaking. All right, but it just falls apart in the diesel, and there's every chance it could get dragged up through there. So that's from the fuel tank. So now we're going to take the other side, which then goes to the fuel filter. I was going to change the fuel filter, but then realised I haven't got a spare fuel filter. But I will do a little series on servicing your tractor. So doing the antifreeze, all the filters, the oil. That one off. Let's give them a bit of a push. Just get them out of the way. There we go. All right, so that's those two. And underneath there's two 1/2-inch nuts, or 1/2-inch head nuts, so we'll just grab those. So you got one this side, one the other. So I'll try not to get in the way, so we'll just get that on there as best we can. Get a little sprung washer off. If I drop it, I'm going to put a new one on anyway. So put that on the floor. And then we'll just do the other side. All right, so you can lose a little bit of diesel, and out it comes. All right, so there is our little lift pump. All right, so that's that taken off. Probably still the original one. Somebody's put some sort of sealant around it. It's come off fairly clean, so just a bit of brake cleaner. Had a little bit of a wipe, a little bit of clean. So I'll just give these a bit of a wipe. What I'm gonna just quickly do is just go get two more little washers. We had a bit of a problem with the sound, so I'm just gonna do a little voiceover. Just make sure everything's clean. Get your favourite sealant. This is a Permatex sealant that I use. Try not to use silicone or anything like that, because the bits just go everywhere in the engine. This stuff is good because the diesel will dissolve it, and let's say at the end you can always sort of, once it's all fitted in, there's a little bit coming out the side, bit of brake clean on a rag, and that'll clean up. So I've put a little bit on the face of the pump. Now putting the gasket on, that'll hold itself in place, and then just a little bit more sealant on that. Keep the little lid caps in just to try and sort of keep it as clean as you can, so you don't get any dirt or rubbish sort of go down where the pipes are going to be fitted. So with this one, you got a little primer on it if you need it. The other one didn't. Push it downwards and then give it a little lift up, and then that'll go in. It's a little bit awkward and a bit fiddly. They sometimes sort of just catch just on the bottom of the pump, or the injection pump. All right, so you put your sealant on, and now we're going to put this on. When you fit these, especially on these little Dexters, what you need to do is sort of get the bottom in. You hook the bottom in, and then it just sort of catches a little. When you fit these little Dexter ones, what you need to do is sort of just hook the bottom in, and then just lever it up, and just put a bit of pressure on it, and then that'll just hold it where you need to get it. So what we're going to do, we'll get our little washers. I know you can't see, my hand will be out of the way in a moment, so you can see. There's that one. So I'm going to do the other side. Sometimes when you fit these aftermarket ones, sometimes the nuts don't quite fit because how they've been cast. They're sometimes a little bit bigger, or there's less room around the nuts, so you probably end up having to use a spanner rather than your socket. So that's about the only sort of problem sometimes. But what I'm doing here, I know this one's being fitted to the pump, but you can have ones that are fitted to the engine block as well, and it's exactly the same. Make sure the fill's off. Keep it as clean as you can. So it is a bit awkward for you to see on something small like this. So I'll get this one on. You don't need to ram them up really tight. Just nip them up. That's all you need to do. So I'll just get on this one. All right, so that's that one on. So now what we're going to do, we're going to fit the pipes. We'll do the outlet side first. So we'll just get this little bung out. Take your little bungs out. Just let's say be a bit careful. You don't get nothing in there. So now we're just going to fit this one, the back one. I use this sort of sealant stuff, a fuel seal. Just put a little bit of that, a little bit on there. That's all you need to do. And then we can get that in there. And the trick with these, when you're putting these in here, do it up with your fingers first. If it feels like it's getting tight, stop and sort of pull it out again. Because what's likely to happen is chewing the threads up inside there, which is what you don't want. So that one's started, that's going in lovely. So we'll get our spanner again and then slowly do it up. Same thing again, this hasn't got to be done up super tight, just so it's nipped up and that olive is sitting, this piece here is sitting right back inside there, so it's nice and snug inside. That's that one on. So now we'll do this one. So same thing again, this little full seal. All right, that's all it is. All right, and the same thing again. We'll just put that in there. There we go. All right, so that's now going in. Right, get the spanner again. Very few tools to do a simple little job. Now, there might be a little bit there in it, but that should push through because there's very little fuel held inside these. So get that on, and there we go. Once it's dry, a bit of brake cleaner, that'll all come off again. And there is fitting a little lift pump to your Fordson Dexta. So what we'll do, we'll just pull the camera out, fingers crossed, it'll start up. Make sure it's out of gear, and we'll see how we go. Now got it running, and that is fitting your fuel lift pump. I'll tell you what we'll do before we finish. What we'll do, we'll put this in the bench, and we'll just have a quick look inside. There it is. It's in the vise. Probably still doesn't sound too bad, but I think the main problem is these threads have gone inside. You can buy repair kits for these, which I've done in the past, which is no problem with that. It's just, it's just for this one, we just decided to put a new little lift pump on it. And all these old lift pumps I take off, I never throw them away, because some of these sometimes fit better than the aftermarket ones. Sometimes with the renovations I've done, people want an original one put back on, which is fair enough. Some of these heads are interchangeable as well. So if the threads have gone in there's every chance you can swap that with whatever you need. Now you get some little lift pumps, have a little brassy coloured dome on top, a little nut on top of that. So some of those have a little filter inside, so it's another bit when you're doing a service. I'll show you when I start working on this Nuffield I have. So open it up, there's your two little valves inside, being held in by these two little screws. And here, this piece is the diaphragm. So when it's doing this, when the little lever is going sort of by the cam, sort of in and out, so it's pulling the diaphragm down. So it's drawing fuel sort of from this side, so the fuel comes through and then gets blown out the other one, the little one-way valves inside. And sometimes you can just take these out. You could service it, you could give it a clean, good wipe round, reseal it around there. This one's not too bad. But all these they sort of go in, twist them 90 degrees, and then they come out. And there's a little pin in there if you want to take everything else apart. So that's in that side. So there's a bit of dirt and years of grime and stuff like that in there. That's fitting a little lift pump to a Fordson Dexta. It can be any tractor or car or something like that that has a similar lift pump, and that is literally as simple as that. I hope you enjoyed that how-to. All right, I'll put a list of the parts okay, it'll be at the end of the video again. I'll also put in the part number for the filter, because it'd probably be best to change that while you're changing this at the same time. But then I know I've known this tractor for years, all right, so I know I actually cleaned the fuel tank out about a year ago, so it's not going to be too bad. All right, so hope you enjoyed. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time.